we got 6 practices in. The focus was on us. We've kind of started, we started watching Houston and we've started working on game plan stuff for us. But, we talked a lot about how these bowl games and these extra practices and things like that are really beneficial for your team and for the future of your team. So for us, that's been the focus. We've worked hard on getting a lot of individual work in, things that we need to continue to improve on, improvement plans for younger players that'll be back. And then, for a lot of these older guys that have aspirations of playing next year, at the next place and, at the next level, we're continuing to work with them and continue trying to put them in position to go out there and perform well. So it's been a good couple weeks, wrapped up final exams and all that stuff. So now, we get to really focus on what's ahead of us, get to focus on this bowl game and trying to go win one more for this senior class and for this team.
Are you doing anything differently for this bowl game, for the bowl game preparations than you did for the New Orleans Bowl last year?
The timing of the bowls kind of dictates how you do it to me every year, and it's kind of, you got to sit back and kind of plan your map your plan out right when you kind of figure out where you're going. So, yeah, it is a little different than it was for the New Orleans Bowl. The New Orleans Bowl, we really had kind of pushed 2 practices in there before we started the prep. So, that was kind of rushed a little bit hurried. But for us this time, we've had a lot more time. So yeah, we've kind of spread it out over time. Certainly didn't want to. You're just trying to walk that line between managing your players and their health and really their physical, status and where they're at, and trying to keep them. Certainly you want to get them healthier for the bowl game than you were week 12, and still continue to get the work that you need. So you try to manage that and figure out what's right for your team. So we've done a lot of good on good, but a lot of our focus has been with the young guys, which is a little bit different than when you play the early bowls. The New Orleans Bowl last year was this weekend coming up, essentially, So yeah, it's a little bit different, but it's been good.
Can you confirm just Chris playing, and there's been reports of Mike Jefferson not playing? Can you just confirm what their situations are?
Yeah, Mike is not going to play. He's decided that he wants to move on and begin training for the next one. And that's a personal decision. And I tell, we give the players the best information that we can, the best advice that we can from the resources we have. But I tell them all, that's not my decision to make. That they're the ones who have to make it and have to, live with the decision, whatever that might be. But Chris definitely is playing. He was emphatic that he was absolutely going to play in this game and that he was, really excited about it. So we want him to go play well, and we're gonna do a lot to try to help him go out there and go have a really good last experience as a Cajun.
When you look at obviously your point, have you gotten to a point where you start to kind of see what works well against Houston, or do you know that already, or do you kind of have what you want to do in your mind already, executing that at this point?
We know we hope's going to work. Every week you hope it's going to work. Yeah. We've game planned and we've started doing all that. We just haven't really gotten into it with our players yet. I want the coaches to be able to have a little bit of a bowl experience as well, So we do start a little bit earlier so that on the back end we've got a little bit more time. So like our game plan areas and the meetings that we do, all that stuff is sped up a little bit when you have the time. So this time of year, there's a lot of irons in the fire. You're trying to get your kids through with finals, trying to finish that up. You're on the road recruiting, right? And you've got visits and things like that. Then you're managing how much do you want to practice with your team that's coming back and win around finals and things like that. So we've picked a couple days to be in and out of the office a little bit to get ready for practice and do some of those things, and working around visits and working around us being on the road and things like that. But yeah, we've started on the game plan, and we feel like we're in a good spot right now, kind of moving forward, where that'll allow us to kind of space it out a little bit to the point where, these coaches work really hard too, and I want those guys to be able to enjoy, the bowl experience with their families as well. So we try to get most of that work done before we get there.
A little bit about the quarterback situation now. How do you approach this game with regards to the quarterback? Because you got a budding young star and Zion, and just to kind of, what is your thought of that? Will he see any game time, or will you stick with, what you did all season, or do you know?
Well, I think so. You'd love to get the guy that type of experience to get to play a series or two, right? But a lot of that depends on how well, they prepare and they're being ready for it, So I don't like to go and speak in absolutes where you say, yes, we're going to play. That's bit me before doing that. Chandler is the starter, and this is Chandler's game to go play and go win for us. But Zion does have another game he can play. And I think, speaking of the 4 games in a red shirt. So I would love to get the opportunity. At Texas State, the plan was to play him a series or 2, and it worked out that we could. And he played really well. And the whole thing, I think, is transparency with the group and telling them, I told Chandler before, listen, I want to play him a series or 2, but when it's crunch time, this is, you're the guy who's been through the fire. You're the guy to go lead us to a win here. So you try to be transparent with them and have those conversations. Zion, him having the ability to play in this game is certainly something that you're happy with as a coach, to know that you have that. And then, Zion McDonald's, he's prepared really well, and he's a smart kid that could go out there and go play well if you needed him to. So we feel good about the 3 that are ready to go. Chandler's our starter. He's played really well in the last 2 games that he started, and I expect him to go play well in this one too. So it's his game to go out there and go play and win. But I think it's always a good thing, particularly if you can get a young player experience in a bowl game. I mean, that's a postseason game that at some point in his career is going to pay off because he's going to be a really good one, and we know that, and the more experience you can get them, I think the better, where it doesn't hurt them in any type of way.
And I just want to ask about obviously going up to Shreveport, not a long trip. A lot of fans can get there. It's supposed to be cold, but as Jay Walker said earlier on the radio this morning, bundle up. But but talk about that. I mean, the ability to be able to go there and back. It's a 2:00 game. That's. People should come out to this contest. I mean, you're expecting some people to get out there and support you guys.
I certainly hope so. We've been fortunate around here, and we've played in a lot of bowl games. Those are games that you have to earn, postseason play. And, for our players, every week you go into it, everyone works really hard to win. And so you got to go out there and to win a football game, essentially, you got to go take something that someone else wants. And our kids have been able to do that, enough times this year to earn a bowl game. So I hope that our fans are excited about it. I know we certainly are. And to me, I don't know if it could have worked out a whole lot better with it being in Shreveport. And really, the December 23rd kind of worked out perfect for us too, as far as getting our kids done with finals and being able to have time recruiting and being able to spread out the work a little bit to get some of these older guys back that we have that are healthy. But and then you couple that with what's 2.5 hours up the road, and it's really a good bowl game. They've had great teams there. They said the city of Shreveport, I mean, they really support it. We recruit North Louisiana, and a lot of the families that are up there, they talk about how well it's been advertised. It's pushed. They're pushing the Houston, Louisiana thing since they're both just a few hours away. So there's some excitement up there, and I certainly hope that our fans feel the same way because, it's the last chance to get to see a number of players that have made significant contributions to a special run here at UL. And, I hope they're as excited about it as we are. I think it could set up to be a really good atmosphere for us up there.
Anything else?
In what ways have you seen Chandler grow up as a starting quarterback this year?
Chandler, his talent is undeniable. The arm strength, the speed, that he can process with. Playing quarterback is so much about being confident that you're going to go out there and you're going to go get it done, and that's where I've seen him make the most growth is just in his confidence. And I think part of that comes with the preparation that it takes to get there. He's always prepared, but he's really learned what matters in his preparation. And, I think the biggest thing for Chandler is that he goes out there. I mean, the last couple weeks he went out there, he just played really confident. He threw the ball with confidence. The decisions that he made, he wasn't second guessing himself. He comes to the sideline. The communication on the sideline has come a long way with what he's seen and how he's seeing it. So I think his confidence is through the roof. And, we've always felt, obviously, the guy won the starting job to start the year out. He's gotten that confidence that he had in fall camp where he was just out there playing. He's got that back. And I think for a little while there, we had a couple games that were rough early in the year. And, it's natural. Your confidence gets shaken a little bit, and it happens to everyone from time to time, but he's gotten it back. And that's what he's got to play confident. I mean, the guy's got to go out there, and he's got to go play the game the way it's supposed to be played, go play to win, and, go out there and just really play his game and do it his way. And that's what he's done the last couple of weeks is he's played his brand of ball, and that's what we need him to do.
Wide receivers. Which wide receivers, obviously Lance, he showed a little bit, could really be even in a position to really step up with some of the guys you're not going to have that you've had all season?
Well, certainly. I mean, all those guys that have played will. John, Pete, Errol, Jake Bernard, those guys that have been in the rotation the whole time, they need to step up a little bit and play their best game. And then, you add a guy like Lance to the mix that, has played more and more as the years going on, but now it's kind of his time to get to go out there and go do it. And I think last week, you kind of saw the progress the guys made over the course of the year where last year, the last game we played, early in the game, he was a big part of the game plan and what we're doing. So, those guys, the usual suspects need to do it. And I would say that Lance is probably the one that's burst on the scene a little bit more lately. Potentially a guy like Jamal Bell who's been here, who's played in games and made big plays in games for us, could get a little bit more. But a lot of the guys that have been here, you don't really go like one for one sometimes when you have a guy like MJ, the impact he's made on our team. You kind of need everybody to step up a little bit, and that includes the tight ends, in the pass game. You just got to kind of spread it out a little bit, and the guys just got to go play and make plays that we know they're capable of. They don't need to do. No one needs to go be Michael Jefferson. They just need to go play their game and go make the plays they're supposed to make. But I expect that group to step up and go play well.
Jamal Bell, talk about perseverance. He made a big play in Tallahassee.
Florida State.
He hadn't been around. How is he? You don't see that too often. Guys who are just kind of out of it for that while. For that long. He had a huge game against Mississippi State. What was that? 3 years ago.
19.
Yeah, that's incredible. Really.
You talk about. I've said a number of times how special this team is to me and the way that they are and the way they compete and the way they care about each other. There's 100 examples that don't ever get talked about, but Jamal, is one of them. In 19, he comes out, has a huge game. He kind of gets banged up that year. He plays the rest of the year banged up, goes in the offseason, has surgery, struggles to come back from it. And then things just kind of didn't work out in his favor after that a little bit. Now, he's been a part of our team the entire way. He's played on special teams. He blocks a punt. I don't remember, was it Troy at home? Blocks a punt in that game. He's found a way to make himself matter to this team. And that's rare. It doesn't happen anymore. As soon as it gets hard today, everybody wants to find the easy way out. Well, Jamal is one of those people. He's going to be extremely successful because he sticks it out and he perseveres. And the guy shows up every day, the same guy, smile on his face, ready to work. Would he like to have played more? Absolutely. Would he like more catches? There's no doubt. Would he like to have had a more significant role on the offense this year? Yeah. But every step of the way, he led that group. And we have a bunch of young guys in that room that are going to be good players that you guys don't know much about yet. He's done things the right way, and he's an example of what it's supposed to look like. And, today you got people leaving for all kinds of reasons. If anyone had a reason to say, I kind of got passed up, I want to go try it somewhere else, well, he'd have been one. And I'd have supported that and understood that. But he didn't. He said he wanted to be a part of this team. He said he wanted to stay here and he wanted to finish what he started, and I'm proud that he did, and I'm thankful that he did. because he makes a difference in our locker room. He makes a difference on our team. And, yeah, I mean, he's just another one of those reasons why when we talk about what's special about this team, well, he's one of those guys. And, you know, there's a bunch of them. But, yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's the definition of perseverance, right? You know, and it seems to not hardly exist anymore. But, you know, guys like him, they're still out there, and it tells you that there's still a lot of that out there. And, you know, I'm proud to be able to coach him. I'm proud that he decided to stay.
Yeah, much what you guys obviously going up against what Houston rolls out there with Dana's offense. How much will you guys miss Andre not being out there, and how do you hope those guys help fill that void?
Well, I mean, I think you always miss, you know, players like that. But, you know, I mean, you can focus on those things, or you can focus on the ones you got and getting them ready to go play and getting ready for their opportunity. And, you know, Andre's another one, made the decision that he was going to move on, and that's the decision he wanted to make. I'm excited about the guys that get to go play. You know, they've worked their tails off all year and played behind him and played the supporting cast, and they get to go out there the last game of this year and go be the star of the show. So I'm excited about the opportunity for those guys. And, you know, like I said, you know, the guys that want to play in this game, we're going, whoever it is, however many it is, we're going to get them ready to go. And we're fortunate. Most of them, they want to get on that bus and go do it. But the ones that have decided that it was time to move on, I mean, I wish them nothing but the best, but we can't be concerned about who won't be there. It's got to be about who will be there. And that's what our focus has been. That's what it will be. And you're going to get to see some guys that will go out there and hopefully go take advantage of the opportunity they have.
Whitfield and Peterson talk about their progress to be able to do that.
You know, I mean, it's a long game. You know, whenever you get here as a freshman, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And those guys are examples of that. We knew they were talented coming in, and this is going to take me on another deal, but that's part of the deal. It's part of the problem sometimes is you have these young kids that they're going to have their moment at some point, and you know it, and you can see it, and there's a plan for them. But, you know, all of us are like this a little bit, young people in particular. Sometimes they struggle to see anything except for what's right in front of them right now in the current situation. Well, those are two guys that they had really good players in front of them. They were on scout team last year. This year they go over to the other side, you know, and they're working with the defense in the game plan, and they've gotten plays throughout the year, and they've played significant minutes in games for us and at critical times. And the maturity that they've just stuck it out, man, and they just kept working, and you know, they've gotten better every week because of the daily diligence that it takes to get better. I mean, people sit there and say, this is where I want to be, you know, in 2 months, 3 months, in a year, 2 years, whatever, but they don't take the time to figure out how they're going to get there. And it doesn't take extraordinary measures to do that. It takes showing up every day, doing what you're coached to do, the best that you can do it, the way that you're supposed to do it, and it's amazing. You see progress. And, you know, that's why we still recruit high school kids, because I know you can still get the right kids that'll come in here and do it. And those are two guys that do every day. They show up. Doesn't matter what group you got them working with, first, second, third, whatever. They don't care. They're going to go out there. They take the reps. They go hard every day. They take coaching, and you see it. It's daily work to get where you want to be and to make progress, and they've done it.